How's it going, everybody? Bryant Jr. here. So I know it's been a while since I've done a tutorial, but here we are. It's the weekend. It's Sunday, July the 10th, and I'm going to be working on the Pod Racer project. And here I have the base of the engine shell and the nose of the engine. What we're going to do in this video is add the blades that go around it. I've already done it here, and I'll show you what they look like, how they look. So something like that. This is what we're basically going to be creating from scratch. So without further ado, let's go. I'm gonna hide these guys for a moment and bring up my grid. Alright, the first thing I'm gonna do is start with a cube. So just go to create, polygon primitives, cube. Alright, now I'm gonna just adjust this a little bit to fit one of the blades. I'm going to be doing this parametrically because I don't want to have to manually create every single one of these blades individually by hand. Alright, so when I have something that looks pretty close to the size of the blade that I want, I'm going to bring my engine shell back just for placement. I'm going to sort of bring it up, just see how large this blade should be in relationship to the engine itself. And I think something like that looks pretty good. Yeah, that works. Alright, so once I have that, I'm going to basically take my blade back to 0 in the translate Z axis. And I'm going to do a couple of things here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this. Actually, I'm going to bring it down a bit. Scale it up just so that it touches the 0 to 0, 0 origin. Alright, so now that I have that, I'm going to rotate this slightly. So in the Pod Racer reference imagery that I have, their blades are not only radial rotated or duplicated radially, they also have a slight rotation to them on the y-axis. So they're rotated a little bit like that. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to make it a little bit thinner here. There we go. That looks good. Alright, now I'm going to freeze my transformations by going to Modify, Freeze Transformations, and then I'm going to go to Modify, Reset Transformations. That's basically going to put my pivot point back at 0, 0, 0 origin and allow me to sort of move this blade from that pivot point. I'm going to rotate this blade 5 degrees in the y-axis here. So instead of 10, I'm going to make it, actually let's make it 9 instead. That looks good. Alright, I'm going to freeze my rotations again, freeze my transformations again, as well as reset my transformations. So that's freezing transformations, and we'll go to reset transformations. I'm going to make some beginner tutorial videos, so if I'm losing anyone, I apologize, but I'm just sort of trying to make a tutorial just to show the concept of making these blades. I may go back and talk about resetting pivots and all of that a little bit later, but as for now, follow along if you can. If you need to rewind the video a few times, feel free to do so. And so we're going to keep moving. Alright, so now what we have is a cube that's been modified. I've rotated it 9 degrees on the rotate y-axis. So now we have the issue of duplicating this in a circular pattern so that it will formulate the actual engine blades. To do that, we're going to use a feature in Maya called Duplicate Special. So we're going to go here, and I'm going to go to the options. Brings up this dialog box. Alright, so I've already sort of figured this out pre-recording this video, but what I needed to know is the rotation is -9 on the z-axis, and everything else is at 1 or 0. So all of my translation values are at 0, and my scale values are at 1. And then I have to figure out how many times I should duplicate this cube along this curve. So 39 was the magic number that I found, and if we click apply, this is what we get. Also, I'm going to back up once. I'm going to just Control Z that. And one other thing I need to mention is instead of using copy as the geometry type, I chose instance. This way, I can still modify the vertices of this original cube to update with the instance geometry. All right. With that said, now we're going to go ahead and apply. And now we're back here. The reason why I chose to do instance over just a regular copy is now that I have this duplicated, I can go to my vertices. I can select them, and as I rotate this one blade, it rotates them all without me having to manually do this. So I find this incredibly useful and much more efficient than doing it by hand. If you have nothing but time on your hands, knock yourself out. I don't have that kind of time, so this is my solution. Alright, so once I have this very close to what I want, I can then go back to object mode. I'm going to select all of these guys. I'm going to bring back the body of my engine. Go to wireframe mode there so we can see what we're doing. W activates my move tool, and I'm going to bring it up closer to the engine's opening. So I'd say about there is good. So bring our nose back, and there we have it. Get rid of my grid, and there we go. Pod Racer engine blades. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned. This is the third part of the series. There's many more parts to go, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to post comments below. I'll do my best to answer it. If you have any suggestions, any of that stuff, also post those as well. And if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel yet, well, what are you waiting for?